earlier this year, I decided to take my iconic Yamaha Banshee and give it a complete overhaul from head to toe. Since last year we were having a lot of transmission issues at Jake Sherbrooke's Turf Wars event, with the 1 through 5 override binding and jumping in and out of gears constantly, making it literally impossible to drag race this thing at all. Sandwarz 2024 is fastly approaching, and I decided to take my 521 drag Banshee out there to see if we can hang with the boys in the limited class. With 4 days to go and a 25-hour drive each way, this may seem like an impossible task to complete, but this is right up my alley, and I'm actually overly excited to get my Banshee screaming again. Since we were doing a full teardown and redo, I went to an all-aluminum drag frame made by an unknown company. We knocked off an astounding 25 pounds, and the Banshee was definitely the fastest it's ever been to date. But with great power comes the ability to destroy parts faster. Is 25 pounds actually worth the struggle here, or would I prefer to have a much more reliable and less sketchy scenario with having this chassis that stuff was already breaking down on from previous years of drag racing abuse? So I decided to go back to the steel J-arm frame to gain some much needed longevity and to keep my sanity intact at least for the rest of this season. With less than 4 days before the event starts, we have a lot of work to do.
I can only imagine what he just did.
Alright guys, so check this out. Wesley said earlier today I should do a vlog while I'm out here at Sandwarz. We just got here earlier today. We're doing some testing and tuning on the Banshee here, and this is a great way to start an intro. I somehow managed to, I don't even know how that happens. I've never literally had this happen ever before. Wow, I hope it didn't destroy the stator too, but damn, that's, yeah, we were just out there doing some pulls, and she's even rich, she's not even leaned out yet. She fucking sheared that baby right off like that. That's crazy. Insanity. So now I don't know what we're gonna do with this thing, but Herc's owning a race bike.
Welcome back, Stupid Fast Nation. Hope y'all are having a great weekend. Figured I would change up the video style just a little bit for you guys, and I kind of want to walk you guys through how some of this stuff happened. So why don't I give you guys a little bit of perspective here. Let's go back, let's rewind to August of 2023, Jake Sherbrooke's Turf Wars event. I worked really hard with facility builds trying to get this Banshee ready to go to Jake's event. And unfortunately, I was having a ton of transmission issues. It's the first time I ever worked with an override transmission. It's always been pro mods or stock transmissions with my own personal modifications. This literally has been the first override, and I got it from BP Racing. And I'll just tell you, it didn't last very long before it broke. I took it over in the field. I might've got like 6 or 7 passes in, and the thing was already jamming itself into first gear. You'd be sitting there neutral, revving the heck out of that thing, having a good time or whatever, getting ready to do a launch, and it would just jam it into first gear and kill the motor right away.
Ooh, I don't like that. That didn't sound good.
It didn't really hurt anything in the bottom end, except for the transmission. It was killing stuff slowly but surely in the transmission. And come to find out a year and a half later, that this transmission is actually junk, and there's literally a guy that takes these junk ones and kind of upgrades them and makes them good again. So with that being said, I was having issues at Jake Sherbrooke's Turf Wars event. I put a pro mod trans in this and then cooked the clutch on the third race because you can't put 120 or 130 horsepower through a stock clutch and use the clutch to shift. Lesson learned. So with that being said, once we got done at Jake Sherbrooke's event, I kind of got pissed off and let the thing sit over the winter. And then coming into spring, I was like, all right, I'm ready to get this thing back up and running. Let's do a full overhaul. We'll have a fresh Banshee for the year 2024. Hopefully it'll be a better year for racing. And so then we tore the whole thing down, repowder coated everything, put it on an all aluminum frame, which I thought would be cool to have a little bit less weight, because I gained a couple pounds from bulking over the 6 months or whatever. And then I was like, cool, if I shed this weight, it'll be an even transition. I'll be still pretty light for racing. And then we just wound up having some issues after that. Like the J-arm frame, I had moved the J-arm mount forward like half, 3/4 of an inch, not much. And it changed the degree pitch basically of the spindles, which changed how the wheels set when it turns. and it would kind of angle the wheels a little bit. And so you couldn't make any hard turns with it, and it never wanted to go straight. So then I wound up tearing the entire thing down again and making it basically back to the steel frame. And that's gonna bring us right to here. Hey, wait a minute. Why is it so dark in here? Where'd the lights go? Ah, I see the problem. Some of my high bay lights went out. Well, sometimes things like this just happen. Everything has a lifespan, but what are you gonna do about it? Well, what I did about it was I called up my buddies at Hykoont Lighting, where they have tons of options for replacement LED lights for a wide variety of everyday practical uses, and I picked out a few of their high bay lights to install and give it a shot. I have to say, even for a biased review, I am fairly impressed with the quality for the price, which is becoming more and more scarce these days. So if you've got a need for any sort of LED lighting, I highly recommend you check out Hykoont's website listed in the description below. And also use code HYCAT15 to get 15% off of your order for a limited time only.
Much better. Much better. Man, look how bright that thing is.
All right, guys, so check it out. I actually want to play a game, but it's not the kind of game that you guys can win. Well, actually, it's not the type of game that anybody can win, but I still want to play. I want to play. Let's see how long it'll take me to get this Banshee motor out of this frame, because I think I can do it in like 10, 15 minutes, maybe less. And yeah, so let's go. Time starts right now. Guesses on times below. Shoot me a number down in the comments below. How long you think it's gonna take me to change this motor out? I think we should be good in the 10 to 15 minute range. Maybe somebody else begs to differ. I'm literally just gonna let this ride out, and in that way, there's no cheating the system. That's time like 30 seconds ago. So 15 minutes it took me to get the engine out. Technically I have to take the gas tank off, but on a stock frame, on a stock Banshee frame, you wouldn't have to take the gas tank off to get it out. You'd be able to just pull it up and out. The way I have the engine mounts designed on this one, you have to take the gas tank off to get it out. Anyways, let's get this thing out and into our drag frame. I've got a race coming up next Thursday, and we've got some work to do. And instead of just not filming the entire thing and keep working on the YFZ 1000R, I decided to go ahead and film this anyways, because I know that y'all enjoy some of the Banshee content. I took the initiative already, powder coated this thing golden Tangelo from Prismatic Powders. Got that and the foot pegs done. I think this will match the plastics much better. So with that being said, let's get started on tearing down and redoing the Banshee for the millionth time. Let's get it going, guys. Got it. So it's at this point that my confidence is getting really high and the Banshee is put together, it runs and rides, fingers crossed, has no issues going out to the event. I just figured I'll leave it the way it sits here. It's a little rich here. Our elevation's 1,200 feet above sea level. We'll take it out to Little Sahara, and I know the elevation changes out there every day, and then I'll wind up just dialing it out there as needed. So me and Wes, literally we're getting this ready the day before we left, and then the day of, traveled 24 to 25 hours to get to Little Sahara in Oklahoma, and what a fun ride that was. We drove literally 24 hours straight. Me and Wes just kind of take turns. I sleep, he sleep, I sleep, he sleep. We do as many hours as we can, switch. Many hours as we can, switch. And we try to keep it pretty even. So 25 hours, we get out there, no campsite, no nothing. I packed the Banshee and the Quadzilla on the back of this little 5x8 trailer. And I screwed some boards going across it and set them on kind of parallel to the vehicle, and we took off. And off we went. So we get to the event, everything's going good. We got a campsite because our buddy's trailer broke down on the way there, so we wound up not having a camper. And also, I'd like to throw a little shout out in here for my boy Dune Man. He hooked it up. He actually copped us a sweet campsite up in the Walking Hills. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. You definitely deserve that shout out because it was hell over in the North Camp when we got there. All the regular camp spots were sold out. So we were all the way over in the North Camp where nobody was. It was like a deserted island over there. There's no parties or anything over there. It was so boring. The first night we stayed over there, the second day, Dune Man called me and he's like, yo, my buddy's not gonna be here. You and Mr. Kayak, you guys can share a camp spot up here by us. We've got an extra. So I went up there, stayed there with those guys, hung out, it was great. I love it. So I'm up there trying to get this thing dialed in, and my plan was to go there with 5 gallons of M5, which if you guys don't know what M5 is, that is VP Racing's methanol blend. It's supposed to be really easy to tune. It has a very wide range for tuning, unlike regular fuels. So I was taking that out there, and then I made a huge mistake, and then I didn't know this. So anyways, I'm brand new to methanol and alcohol on 2-stroke engines. I have basically almost no experience running them, very little to no. So, but I have a good experience with engines in general because I've been building my entire life for the last 26 years or whatever. So all the confidence in the world, heads up here, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to dial this thing in when I get out there. So I get out there, and this is where catastrophe strikes. So I put it on methanol, and I upped my jetting. I put 230 mains in it. Correction, I drilled my jets out with a recommendation to do a 1/8 inch main jet and a 1/16 inch pilot jet. Just wanted to clarify that before I get eaten alive in the comments. Because we were running a 190 main, which was still rich for the 521 Super Cub out there. And I have a whole theory on why this 521 doesn't take as much fuel as other 521s. And that's because it's a small flange 521, is a 1.7 flange exhaust. Not to get on a whole side tangent here, but I do believe that is one reason why we don't make as much power as we should with this 521. But with that being said, so I put it on methanol. I already got the power jets installed on this thing, turned them all the way open, so this thing would just be pig rich, because I'm told that they'll run just fine being pig rich, raw fuel flying out the exhaust and everything. So I was gonna start there and then slowly bring my way back in because I didn't want to destroy a fresh build. So I put the methanol in, I take AMSOIL Dominator, I mix it 25 to 1, put it in the methanol, and I notice it looks a little weird.
And so I get on Google and I start doing research. Can you mix AMSOIL with methanol? No, you cannot. It will not mix. That's why it was like bubbling up. Didn't know this. That's after I did something. So I put the mix in the quad, I fire it up. Actually sounds pretty violent in a good way, like it's about to go nuts out on the sand. So I really loved the way this thing came to life on methanol. I get a couple revs in, I get it warmed up a little bit, get a couple revs in, and then it starts idling up a little bit. And so I just tapped the throttle thinking that it might put a little extra fuel in there and bring it down. And it started idling up. Kind of like held there at like 6,000-7,000 RPM, and I couldn't get it to shut off. I turned the kill switch off, I pulled the spark plug wires off, and then I finally put my hands over the exhaust because they weren't even hot, and then it finally shut off. And it was kind of dieseling, and I heard that's kind of common in methanol a little bit. Like I said, brand new to methanol, have no idea exactly how this stuff works. So at this point, nothing's wrong with the Banshee yet, other than it just dieseled a little bit. No big deal. It didn't rev too high or break anything. I got it to shut down. So I immediately was like, there's no way that I'm blowing this engine up out here at Little Sahara. I'll take it home and put it on methanol. I went right back to the race fuel. I put the 190s back in. I drained the whole system out, put my 110, my VP 110, mixed that 32-to-1, put that back into Banshee, and then we were ready to rock and roll. I get out on the sand with Wes on the Zilla, me on the Banshee, and within 20 seconds, the flywheel breaks. Now, I'm just in the middle of doing a pull and the thing just dies. And I'm like, okay, last time I was out here at Little Sahara, some sand got in the stator area and one of the wires somehow got broken from it. So I was like, maybe something stupid like that happened again. I get it back to camp and this is what I found.
Somehow managed to, I don't even know how that happens. I've never literally had this happen ever before. Wow. I hope it didn't destroy the stator too.
Eric's owning a race bike. So I have to give you guys a little bit of information here. This flywheel also came from BP Racing, and I personally, if I was going to lighten a flywheel on my lathe, I probably wouldn't shave the face down until it comes past the holes, the relief holes drilled or whatever they are, the holes that go, the 6 or 8 or whatever holes that go around the face of the flywheel, before the flange is mounted to the flywheel. I wouldn't shave past those holes. This flywheel was shaved past the holes, and I think that's part of the reason why it broke so easily, because it was thinning out that wall that had holes drilled through it already. Anyways, it's nobody's really fault. I hear this happens a lot. Anyways, on the drag Banshees, it's the first time I've ever done it in, 15 years of playing with Banshees, but I normally don't play with ones over 100 horsepower. I'm normally 80, 90, just breaching 100 horse. This is my first one that's gonna surpass 100 horsepower. So this is all new territory to me. I love living and learning every single day of my life, and I feel like everybody should embrace that live and learn mentality a little bit better. We'd probably all be a little better off. So I'm, 1,300 and some miles away from my house here in Pennsylvania, and I've got no extra flywheel with me. And this thing's literally sheared into 2 pieces. I get in touch with a guy named Ricky, super awesome, super great guy. Has a 521 setup similar to mine, but he's a big flange, not a small flange, and he's on alcohol. Super nice guy, lent me his flywheel, and away I went. I got out there, did some tuning, and I'll show you guys some clips here. The thing was running halfway decent. I was just getting around to getting this thing dialed in. I was on the 190s. I was about to start stepping it down. We were probably gonna be somewhere around like a 170, 175, and I think that would have been race territory. We would have been lean enough to race, and then we'll put it back to the rich when we're done. That way we don't blow it up. That's normally how I do it. Anyways, here's some cool clips of me ripping out at Sahara. I am telling you guys, it is at this very moment
in my journey with the Banshee that I knew something was happening to the transmission because of this one simple fact. When I first put the transmission into the Banshee, it always would go into neutral without any issues. I could drive it around the yard, putt it around, because it's a 1 through 5 override with a 6th gear. And then, so I could putt it around in 1st gear without any issues and put it back into neutral. I could go out, do 3rd gear pulls, no problem. Put it back into neutral, never an issue. It was at this moment that the Banshee transmission started acting up. I couldn't put it into neutral anymore. As you saw the quad, like as I was trying to put it in neutral, thought I got it into neutral, eased the clutch out, and then it died. Well, I was no longer able to put it back into neutral at this point. That's how I knew something was about to go down. So I started babying it little by little here. As I would pull up to the line to go to race, I would shut the Banshee off every time, put it into neutral so I could clear the cylinders and the exhaust out because I knew I was a little on the rich side yet. So I'm just trying to clear everything out. I don't want anything sitting in the bottom of the crankcase. So I cleared everything out and then I would go to shift before I do the pull. Yeah, so fun fact.
Only thing I don't like about the override trans is that can't shift it while it's running.
So it's at this point, everything is going great. The Banshee is running good. Slight problems with not being able to put it into neutral, but we're able to try and dial this thing in and we're able to go do some racing. And so I'm really ecstatic at this point. I circle back around as I'm doing my loops there, just trying to get a couple passes in so I could check a plug, you know, play around with the jets. That's what my backpack's for that I wear everywhere I go. So I have like 10 cases of jets in there and all my tools. And then right there on the sand, I'll change my jets out right there, get it done. So with that being said, the next thing that happened, I roll back, and I didn't get this on film, but I roll back around the top, and then Ricky, the awesome guy that lent me his flywheel, goes, "What's up, you wanna run one?" You guys know me, you're gonna ask to race, I'm not gonna turn it down. I'll race anybody, I don't care if your bike's faster or not. I love to race, and that's literally what made me wanna start this channel, was just the love of building and racing. So naturally, I was like, hell yeah, bro, let's go. So, yeah.
Mine runs a little better with heat in it out of the line. But once we got going, I stayed with you. Huh? No, you definitely outpower me. Hey, Ricky, that fucking thing hauls ass, brother. Oh my God, that thing shoots out of the hole like fucking fire, man. I need me some alcohol. Holy shit, look at that thing.
I pretty much knew Ricky was gonna kick my doors in. Him being a big flange, alcohol 521, and being significantly lighter than me, both in body and Banshee. I just knew that he was gonna smoke my doors off. He did get the launch a little bit better than me. Like, he got out the hole and I didn't even go. Like, I gave him the head nod, then he took off, then I went. So there was no chance I was gonna ever stick with him or anything anyways. But what I noticed in high gear was we were moving pretty evenly once we got up to like 3rd, 4th gear. So I'm not that far away in power, but he kicked my butt. Kudos to you, Ricky. He's the only guy that I got to race my Banshee against while I was out there at Little Sahara, unfortunately. And then as soon as I got done racing Ricky, me and Kyle talked for a little bit, and then I was heading back to the camp spot to check on Wes and see what was going on, if he wanted to bring the Zilla out or whatever, because I brought the Zilla with so that we could take turns on that. And then literally on the way back to camp, this is what you're gonna see.
Moving out. Sheesh, all right, man, I like it. That didn't sound very good. Lots of fluid in there yet. Dude. Bro, one race? And cook the trans.
You know, what's funny here is looking back on this footage, I just posted 2 runs before this clip. And then you saw I did the one with Ricky,
I did another one, and then I did another one before I was leaving camp. Well, I got to thinking, and I was like, I remember pulling around the top, and then Kyle going, hey bro, do you want to throw down a quick race? Now Kyle's got a nice little modded 421 deal that he's been working on for a while. He's a subscriber buddy of mine. Just to give you guys some quick background, he's like, you want to race? I'm like, sure, I'll race quick before I go back to camp. So technically I broke it during or after the race with Kyle. So Kyle, this is technically your fault that my Banshee's broken for asking me to race. No, I'm just kidding. But with that being said, what did we learn from the experience on the Banshee? Number one, 1 through 5 overrides are trash. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who's gotten a 1 through 5 override to work well. Unfortunately, I don't think I need to invest the time to make a 1 through 5 override work well when my Banshee makes enough power that I'll most likely never need a first gear to begin with. So I think we're tossing that one right in the trash. All that hard work earlier this year of getting the springs custom ordered from different companies, because there's a very special spring size that goes around the shaft on this one. And then also the forks that we killed, not a huge loss, but definitely worth it for the learning experience and the lesson. So, but that's not why I brought you guys to today's video. No. You ain't getting off that easy. I put in the title of this video, destroying the Banshee at sandwarz and buying man's most powerful tool for racing. So, with that being said, let's look at man's most powerful tool for racing. I think you guys are gonna like this one. Okay guys, and what you see here behind me in the entire video that I refuse to show you guys until the end of the video. Oh my God, really? The lighting's gonna mess with me now? Cut it out, LED lights. I'll just try and keep the camera still. So, I got a dyno. I'm really excited. I got an ATV dyno, motorcycle / ATV dyno. The roller goes all the way across, just like every dyno. So I got a Dynamite Land and Sea dyno, very popular tool for racing. Obviously, goes along with everything that we do. Now we can put actual horsepower numbers to our quads and dirt bikes. So that's right, guys. I bought an ATV dyno and motorcycle dyno. I don't know what to call that. An ATV / motorcycle dyno. But I am super stupid stoked to bring you guys the ATV dyno. This thing is going to come in huge handy here on the channel and in everyday life, because I am sure there's a million guys around here that want to know what their machine makes. This is an inertia style dyno, and I've got a little bit of a learning curve, but within the next few weeks, I will be taking on projects on this dyno. So I'm super excited. I know y'all are gonna be really excited, because now I can put actual horsepower figures to my machines that I build, and I don't have to say this is 140 horsepower, but it's actually only 100. Now I'll be able to put on a dyno and go, prove me wrong. Prove me it's not 100 or 140. Just like the YFZ 1000R, I'm gonna be looking to make 250 to 300 horsepower on that one. So once we get the twin turbo setup on it and everything. So with that being said, this thing is gonna be super awesome on the channel. I am so freaking excited to bring this one to you guys. I hope y'all like it. If you stuck around for the video, thank you so much. Check out Hykoont lighting, and I'll see you guys in the next video for the YFZ 1000R. Peace.